This is The Gorge, the podcast where my friend Sarah and I gorge ourselves on what's happening in the world of video games and entertainment.
The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where for just $5 a month you get access to not one, but two entire podcasts. $5 gets you takeout, a monthly commentary track where Ben and I decide we don't feel like playing anything, so we just watch something and talk over it instead. And $2 is our grab bag tier. That's just what I've started calling it now.
Yeah.
It's like any additional content we do that is not takeout is in the $2 tier.
It's the pack of like utensils and ketchup packets and stuff that you get when you get takeout.
That's right. So like it's just, last month we did the JoJo quiz show where Ben beat my ass in in like the hardest game I've ever played in my entire life, where we did 2 truths and a lie for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, a game that it turns out I'm really bad at. So you should go listen to that. It was really fun. It was extremely funny. I think Araki is a menace to society now.
He is. I am never going to forgive him for that thing in part 7.
Yeah, no, I definitely think Araki is a menace to society. But yeah, all of that and more is over at patreon.com/thegorge.
Yeah. So, Sarah, it's been a couple weeks. What have you been up to?
Because the last thing we did was Zelda, huh?
Yeah.
That's right. And then, of course, we take the 4th week of the month off. Or the first, depending on how timelines work out. What have I been up to? I have been up to a few things, actually. Ooh. What to start with? So Saturn came and hung out with me for a little while. And while they were here, we had a good time. It was very fun.
Yeah.
But we also picked back up watching Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Oh, fun.
That show's really good. It's insane to me that Deep Space Nine is considered to have a bad first 2 seasons, the way that like TNG has extremely famously bad first 2 seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody always says that Deep Space Nine is the same way, but like I'm watching Deep Space Nine these first 2 seasons, and I think they're great, right? Like, this is easily the best Star Trek show I've ever watched.
That's always good, because it can only go up from there.
Exactly. We can only get better. But yeah, no, Deep Space Nine is incredible. It is definitely the best Star Trek I've ever watched. I really like this cast of freaks. I really like the captain for Deep Space Nine. His name is Sisko. Benjamin Sisko. And he's just like this dad, like his son is on the station with him, and so he's just like, what if there was a Starfleet commander, but he was just like a dad who loves dad jokes and who like really likes fucking with government officials and stuff. Like,
he sounds like my kind of character.
You would love him. Yes, you would adore Sisko. But like the whole cast is good. It's just really fun. Rene Auberjonois is there, and like Quark, who's like the Ferengi bartender. He's apparently in Starfield somewhere.
He is the CEO guy.
Oh, is he really?
In Constellation.
Nice. Good for him. But yeah, no. Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, because I recognized him, because I was like, that voice sounds really familiar. Like, where have I heard those not that voice, but those inflections. Where have I heard where Dr. Nefarious.
Dr. Nefarious, yeah. Yeah. But he is also Quark in Deep Space Nine, and Quark is incredible. Like, the whole show is just really, really good. It's just a great Star Trek, just in general. It's great. So I'm loving that. I'm gonna get back to that soon. What else? Samurai Remnant came out. I got that. Samurai, I haven't played much of it because other stuff happened at the same time. So I haven't had a chance to really go to it, but it's good. I like it a lot. I like the way that game looks. I like the way it plays, where it's like a Muso game, but like it has Muso game systems, but it's not a Muso game, right? It's
much smaller scale battles.
It's Yakuza. It's a Yakuza, right? It's literally just a Yakuza game. Like toe to tip, it has all the same like trappings of a fucking Yakuza game, which is fine by me, because like I think a Fate Yakuza game is like perfect.
I think that's I would love you know how they do like Ishin, where it's just like Kazuma Kiryu is gonna play this famous like character.
Yeah.
The famous, like, Japanese, Japanese.
Yeah, he literally
like,
plays Ryoma Sakamoto, who is in FGO, yeah.
Like, they should just do that for Fate, where, like, the part of Saber will now be played by Kazuma Kiryu.
I agree.
Like, get him to play prototype Arthur.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, no. So I really like it. I really like this Saber. I don't know their name yet. Their true name anyways. But like they are extremely funny. This like the rudest, smuggest, funniest little shit you've ever met with just the most amazing facial expressions. I love them, right? I also need you to understand something, Ben. So the protagonist of this game, he's very Shiro core.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, rewinding this back. The actual Musashi Miyamoto had an adopted son named Miyamoto Iori, right? Iori Miyamoto. And the protagonist is Iori. And the game is set, like, I think like a year or two after, like, Musashi died, right?
Right.
Like old man Musashi when he went up to the cave to die, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our beloved bisexual maniac Miyamoto Musashi is in this game.
I have heard that, yes.
Which is very funny to me. That it's like, here's a version of your dad, but with two swords and big titties. And she's a berserker. And it's like, yeah, that's right. That's very funny to me. I love it.
That's interesting.
It's also very funny because in Summer 4, which is the Las Vegas one, it's funny because Musashi calls herself Iori as like her pseudonym, right? Like as her fake name, she calls herself Musashi Iori. So it's like, that's funny. We're just coming right back around.
Yeah.
But he's very Shiro core, but like his saber is really funny. And yeah, like it's good so far. I really enjoy it. I'm gonna keep pushing at that game.
Nice.
And yeah. The other big one before we talk about 6.5 is I started playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I got Cyberpunk. I actually, because I sold my PS5 obviously a few months ago. A month ago. Yeah, because I sold it when Starfield came out. And I hadn't gotten rid of my PS5 games, so I finally got rid of my PS5 games. I just took them to GameStop. I could have sold them on the internet, but I didn't want to fool with it. So I just took them to GameStop. I sold them. I got exactly $50 in store credit, so I bought a Steam gift card. And at the time, Cyberpunk 2077 and its DLC were on sale for $60. So I got the whole game for $10, technically.
Nice.
Yeah, I only spent $10 out of my own pocket, which was very nice. And I think that's a decent price for that game.
Pretty good price, yeah.
I like it a lot. I think it's really, really good. I think it really eats Starfield's lunch. So
I'm very glad the DLC came out this year, so that we can talk about it during Game of the Year.
Yeah, there's probably gonna be a Starfield episode this year, probably in November. That's what I'm gonna try and aim for. Just so we can talk about base game Starfield before all like the DLC and shit comes out.
Right.
So I'd like to do that, mostly because I would like to air my grievances. But the short version is that Cyberpunk 2077 absolutely demolishes Starfield just up and down the street, right? Like, it makes it look like fool. And it's like, oh no, this is what happens when you make your games with, like, these insanely long dev cycles. And, like, 2077 had a really long dev cycle, too. But, I mean, like, that game kind of also had a weird dev cycle where, like...
How much of that time was actually spent working on the game?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it sounds like a lot of that game came together in the last 2 years. Like, right? So, it's just really like, oh, this is kind of the downfall of putting your game out, putting Starfield out after such a long dev cycle, because, like, by the time it's out, there are other games that are out that are just significantly, they just do what you do, but so much better. Because at this point, now, No Man's Sky has, like, extremely improved itself to be the space part of Starfield, but better. and Cyberpunk is the open world part of Starfield, but better, right? So it's like, oh, well, shit. But I really like what I have played of Cyberpunk so far. I haven't even finished Act 1. But that game is just kind of fun to tool around in. Like, it's just... I really enjoy the visual spectacle of it. Like, neon is cool. Now imagine if the whole game was set in neon. Right? Just like the insane spectacle of it is very interesting, and I'm really interested to get to Phantom Liberty, which is the DLC with Idris Elba in it. I'm going to get to that sooner than later. And yeah, I just think it's very impressive. It's very beautiful. It's fun to look at. It's fun to play because they changed. I mean, they fixed it. They fixed it. Yeah, they literally remade that game from the ground up. It's again, that's another huge problem with Starfield, is that like Bethesda keeps insisting on doing this really obnoxious thing of your skills are just damage increments, right?
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, that's boring. Why not just put that on the weapon, right? And why not have your skills be cool things instead? And like, I'm only in the first kind of tier of skills in Cyberpunk, and they're already like way cooler than Starfield. Like, it's a lot of like, you know, depending on how you want to build, you've got like movement based stuff or hacking based stuff. It's just significantly more interesting.
Yeah.
Oops.
So,
whoops. Sorry, Bethesda. Please look forward to the Starfield episode where I can really just get all of this out of my system, because I have a lot to say about that video game now. Is there anything else that matters? I watched Dan Olson's video. This is not financial advice about Wall Street bets and super stonks. There's not much to say there, but I think you should absolutely go watch it, because it's a good like breakdown of the same shit that like the NFT and the metaverse kind of bunch of the other videos he's put out recently. They're all kind of about the same thing, which is that like, wow, it's interesting that everybody's a whole lot more insane these days. And yeah, it's really good. I think you should watch it. It's about like the GameStop or the GameStop stock frenzy. Yeah, I said that right.
Yeah.
Back in 2021.
Right.
And kind of the fallout and the conspiratorial thinking that has emerged in the aftermath. And those kind of these grifts that, you know, everything is a grift these days, and this is just yet another one. And yeah, it's super, super fascinating. I definitely think you should go watch it. It's long. It's a great thing to listen to while you work. He does a really good job of just explaining like concepts of the financial world that I didn't really have like a good grasp on, which is why I like watching these videos of his, because I don't like, there's stuff I just didn't understand because nobody taught me, and it's like, okay, well, here, we're gonna break this down in a much more like digestible and easy way. Yeah, so
nice.
It's good. You should go watch it. Just listen to it while you work. It's a good video. Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's everything that I really have to talk about, which is more than I usually have, except for the other thing, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah. Well, let's do the Venn diagram.
Okay.
And we'll talk about 6.5 now.
Okay, we'll talk about 6.5
we both
now.
did that.
Yes, we did. 6.5 was fine.
This was such a nice filler arc.
It sure was a filler arc.
This was the G8 of FF14.
Yeah, it certainly was.
This shit doesn't matter at all.
None of this shit mattered even a little bit, unless they decide to make 8.0 about going to the void. Right?
But it was fun.
Right.
You got to meet a cool character, and then she was like, "Goodbye forever."
Yeah, she literally has like anime girl one-time appearance syndrome, right? You watch a One Piece movie.
Yeah,
that One Piece movie's got a new girl in it. She's
an Atlas
One
girl.
Piece girl. Yeah, exactly. fine.
It was fine.
It was fine. The new Alliance raid tier is pretty good. I think
that's probably
really
my favorite Alliance raid.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely no. I still like stuff in Nier more. Nier is such a high bar to clear.
I think the final raid is the best raid
in
dungeon
that tier. Yeah.
But overall, the Nier raid is just better quality because I don't really like Aglaya and Euphrazine. They're fine.
They're kind of boring, yeah.
But none of that really fired for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Aglaya and Euphrazine, the more I do them, like, nothing ever... There's really no mechanism for things to go horribly wrong in Aglaya and Euphrazine as long as everybody knows what they're doing, right?
And not even just because we've been doing them so often, like on repeat, but it's just like, even at the start where it's just like, oh yeah, no, this is, these are kind of standard-ish mechanics. But then you play the last tier and it's like, you do that thing with the waves and outrunning the fucking tidal wave.
Yeah, like there's a lot of really fun stuff in Thalea that I enjoyed a lot. And just like the plot was like extremely whatever to me. I was kind of mentally checked out by the end of it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
we were all joking that suicide is back on the menu now that Ishikawa is not writing things he's not currently writing anything for FF14.
I didn't give a shit about anything that was happening plot wise until the end, where we were both just like, spoilers by the way, if you haven't
I guess
the Alliance raid.
Yeah, I guess we should do that.
When they're like, yeah, we're gonna kill ourselves by...
It's like, but why though? But why? And then Oshan's like, actually, I don't feel like killing myself. And it's like, wait, that's an option?
Yeah, you didn't have to, it wasn't just like, oh, our time is up, like it's time for us to go. It's like,
yeah, no.
We don't want to do this anymore, we're gonna go.
We don't feel like doing this anymore.
And then Oshan's like, I will reincarnate as a person. And it's like, that was an option?
You could do that? That is called, we don't feel like having that many technically ancient characters running around in Final Fantasy XIV, so we can keep things about the ancients ambiguous.
But the crazy thing is that's optional content!
Yeah, I know, it's insane. They literally killed the gods in optional content. Like, I need you to understand something. If you get married in Final Fantasy XIV... post 6.5, the gods aren't there anymore. Like, they make you do this thing where you gotta run around and ask for the 12th blessing from all the different shrines. That shit's pointless now.
You are praying to gravestones.
It's very metaphysical and funny, but also, like, y'all insane for this one.
That's dark.
That's extremely dark to be like, yeah, we killed the gods in an Alliance raid. And then they just stay dead. Oh, okay.
It's like what you said, like your patron deity in your character menu should just have an X through it now.
Yeah, like it's fucking Nier, and you've just deleted your save file, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me. The only people who get to say that their patron deity is still kind of kicking is Oshan.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay. So that's an insane thing to hide behind your Alliance raid tier. It's very dark.
What if God was one of us?
What if God was one of us and we killed all of his friends? That's the plot of the Myths of the Realm Alliance raids. Is what if you could hang out with God and kill all of his friends? Yeah. So Thalea was interesting.
Yeah.
But the fights themselves are really good. I'm kind of sad we didn't get a banger vocal track for the last fight.
Yeah.
The way we did with Aglaya and Euphrazine.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else is in 6.5 that's really worth talking about? Oh, the dungeon and the trial are both super good.
Oh yeah, they're insanely good.
Even though I personally thought the plot of 6.5 was extremely mid. I think the dungeon is super good. I really like those boss fights. I like those boss fights.
Yeah.
I just like the spectacle of the dungeon in general, but I think those boss fights are really fun. And I think that trial is really fun because it's extremely chaotic. Honestly, like, this whole patch series has been filler and just, like, fine, I guess, sort of. But, like, there's so many good goddamn trials in this patch series, and it's because they got rid of the trial series, right? Like, they just were like, well, the trial series is now part of the plot. Right? We didn't get a trial series like we did like Weapon or Warring Triad or Four Lords, right? We just got trials over the course of the plot, which is fine by me. And yeah, but like all of the fights were super fun. The only one I think that's kind of weak is Mount Ordeals, and I don't even think that's weak. I just don't understand that mechanic with Rubicante.
Yeah.
I still don't understand the floor rotating mechanic of Rubicante. Anytime I get into Mount Ordeals, I just go and chat. I'm like, I don't know how this mechanic works. I gotta follow somebody. I'm sorry.
There are certain mechanics in some of these dungeons that I'm just gonna follow everyone else because I cannot wrap my head around it.
I know. I can wrap my head around most normal tier mechanics, right? Like, don't ask me to do Savage Raids. It's not happening anytime soon. I'm not that smart. But like, and like I can handle pretty much every other mechanic and every other trial in the patch series. I don't know the trick to easily, and like, there's obviously a trick to it, right? Like, once I started, like, so speaking of Aglaya, Oates pointed out to me that, you know, Azima does her little fan spinning mechanic.
Right.
And I always know that you want to go where, like, in between where the fans are going to land, because they do 2 big AoEs, right? But I always ran I would always run slightly off to the side and get caught in the big circle AoE, right? And then Oates pointed out to me one time, she's like, as long as you run exactly straight from either her front and back or her 2 sides, you will never get hit. Right?
Okay.
Like, so on her ring, it's got the 2 arrows on the sides pointing forward, and that demarcates where the flank is if you play a melee DPS. As long as you keep those in mind as your east-west, and then her front is north and her back is south, as long as you run directly straight. What I'm saying is she never stops on an intercardinal. She always stops on a cardinal. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you... See, that's what I mean. So if you just run straight from whatever cardinal she stops on, you will never get hit. And since then, I've never gotten hit by the mechanic. It's like, that was a trick.
Interesting.
I didn't realize that for a really long time, right?
Okay.
So there's like little dumb tricks like that all over the game that just let you know, like, okay, this is how you do this without having to think about it. Right?
Right.
I don't know what that trick is for Mount Ordeals yet. If somebody is listening to this and wants to tell it to me, I would love that. Thank you very much.
thegorgepodcast@gmail.com.
Gorgepodcast@gmail.com, or at me at radioinactivity, or at me on the Discord, please. God, I'm begging you. But yeah, no, 6.5 is fun. I liked it. Probably gonna take a break from the game once my sub runs out for a little while, mostly because I'm gonna be gone for a while anyways.
Right.
And I don't want to spend the money. But I have to log back in because I want to keep my house. So I have to be back in 45 days. I don't want to lose my house in the mist. So I have to come back. That's how Yoshi P got me. I decided to get a house in Final Fantasy 14. Oops. So,
if only you could have, like, if you could just tell someone to get your mail for you, you know?
I wish that it was like, if Saturn and I are married in FF14 for tax purposes, right? I wish that Saturn going into my house in FF14 counted, because that's my spouse, right? I wish that counted. I don't think it does, so I'm very sad. Because otherwise that would be my way of cheating the system. It'd be like, okay, 45 days has passed, Saturn go into the house, and then I'll go into the house the next 45 days. So, 6.55 comes out in late January, so please look forward to that. That's the next time. That's when they're going to set up shit for Dawn Trail. And then actually in a couple of days is London Final Fantasy 14 Fan Fest, and there's going to be more stuff about Dawn Trail there. So.
Yeah! I love, go ahead. I love that 6.5. Did you ever watch when did you stop watching Naruto or stop reading Naruto?
Right after the Save Gaara arc.
Okay. So there's the Sasuke retrieval arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it ends with Sasuke gone and Naruto like, and then the anime hits the filler dimension, right?
Yeah.
Where like right before the time skip, where they just do like 60 episodes of filler garbage.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Well, they, and I think it was in the anime or in the manga, like Rock Lee gets injured, and so that's why he's out of commission after the Sasuke retrieval arc.
Mm-hmm.
So the last filler arc of Naruto before the time skip is a recreation of the Sasuke retrieval arc, where they just kind of flip the character roles. So what happens is Lee gets better.
Uh-huh.
And he goes and does his designated fight and then gets hurt again. Because he needs to be hurt for the time skip.
Oh my god.
So that's what I thought of when 6.5 ends exactly the same place that 6.0 ended.
Uh-huh.
Of, hey, Warrior of Light, you need a fucking vacation.
Yeah, it's really funny to me that, like, they basically just, you won't be able to skip. That's the fucked up part, is you won't be able to skip it, right?
Yeah, no, you have to do it.
If you finish Endwalker, you still have to do the patch quest. It's not like the fucking Epics of Remnant from FGO, where you can just be like, well, I'll do these later when I feel like it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you still have to fucking do it, but, like, the degree to which it just doesn't matter is very, very funny to me.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping we go back to the Void someday, so this will matter.
You know,
but who knows?
I'm betting, I would bet the Alliance raid for 7.0 will be 13th stuff.
I hope so. That would be fun. Or I would really just like 8.0 to be about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like...
Don't you mean 14.2 1.0?
You probably... Who knows? Who fucking knows what's going to go on at that company? Who can say? Maybe. Is that it? Is there anything else I have to say about 6.5? Yeah, it was
that's
fine.
about it for me.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of stuff.
Alright, hit me.
I watched Mutant Mayhem.
Isn't it great?
That's a good fucking movie.
Isn't it a great movie? It's so much fun.
That's a really super fun movie.
It just feels like a fucking Garbage Pail Kids movie. I love it.
The art style is immaculate.
It's so good. Oh my god. I love looking at that movie.
Everyone looks so weird and
lumpy. I love it.
Yeah.
It's such a fun art style.
I love how lopsided everyone is. The animation is so fluid. It feels like it's Rise's little brother. Yeah,
it's really cute.
Like all of the turtles feel like the respective younger brothers of the Rise turtles.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by how much, depending how much I liked Rise. I'm really surprised I ended up liking Mutant Mayhem as much as I did. But that movie's just fun. Like, it's just fun. It's like a fun, goofy, just gross out kids like movie, and I really enjoyed it. Right?
It's the most Nickelodeon has been since
I know.
Since like Rocket Power was on the air.
Yeah, it rules. It has such like an Real Monsters kind of vibe, like that whole era of Nickelodeon where things were kind of grungy and gross and like I loved it. It's so much fun. I really would like to see it again, actually.
Yeah.
And I know this is like the movie is like a setup for a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess hopefully that and I know the actor strike is still ongoing.
Right.
But like I am looking forward to that show whenever it does eventually come out. So yeah. Yeah, no, I'm glad you liked it. It's cute.
It was a weird status quo thing too.
Yeah.
Where like I really like that Bebop and Rocksteady are just good guys.
They're just good guys, and like they get to like the movie ends on them getting to go like they're not like secret ninja turtles. They just get to like go to school and be weird kids, right?
Yeah.
Like that stuff rules. It's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a fun little way to switch things up, and yeah, just like great character design and action design. That whole scene that is like the them
Can I
shaking,
kick it scene?
yeah, the shaking down all the different gangs scene.
Yeah,
It is like, it's this cool sequence that is cutting between multiple action sequences set to Can I Kick It, that is also an Old Boy reference.
yeah, they do
It's
the
a
hallway scene from Old Boy.
Yeah, did you have that on your bingo card that the fucking TMNT movie would reference Old Boy?
I do think it's funny. I don't know if you know, because this is it's have you seen the soundtrack for this movie?
No.
One of the tracks in the soundtrack is Dipshits on a Roof.
Great. That rules.
Another one is Megamind Gru type shit.
That's awesome.
And that's on the OST for this Nickelodeon funded TMNT like PG movie.
That's so funny. That makes so much sense though. It's so like, it's such a fun, crusty movie that of course it would have like soundtrack titles like that. This feels such like a weird aberration. Like it shouldn't even be allowed to exist because it's so like weird and gross, right?
Mm-hmm. What did it remind? It reminded me of something watching it because like it's a Seth Rogen film, like obviously, and you can feel the Seth Rogen in it.
Oh yeah, it's all over it. Yeah.
But it was the James Gunn Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah.
Where it's like the only thing you would need to do to make this an R-rated movie is add swear words.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so fun.
Everything else is filmed like it's an R-rated movie.
And like I saw that movie. I saw Mutant Mayhem in like a pretty packed theater. And like the whole audience was cracking up.
Yeah.
Right? Like there were adults in the audience who were just cracking up at some of the jokes because it's just so like absurd sometimes, right?
Right. If I had a nickel for every time April projectile vomited like an out of control sprinkler, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Weird that it happened twice. Yeah. Yeah. No. So that's a great movie. Absolutely. I'm glad you finally watched it. I can't wait for the TV show.
Yeah, it was really good. I also watched, Melissa and I watched Castlevania Nocturne.
Did you like it?
That shit's good.
Okay.
That's real good. You know what's cool about it? They have fights in it.
There's fights in it. It's not just people sitting in a basement, as much as I like Castlevania Season 2.
Yeah. It's not 8 episodes of them sitting in a basement talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can feel the lack of Warren Ellis for better or worse.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, I don't think it's as good as Season 4 was.
Sure.
But it was still pretty enjoyable overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Richter is a great character. He gets a Super Saiyan 2 power-up that's really fucking cool.
That's funny.
I'm pretty sure you've seen the hot lady vampire that shows up in it.
I have seen the hot lady vampire that shows up in it, yes.
Drolta's an amazing character. It's just fun, and it's nice that they moved on from the timeline, and there's a conspicuous lack of mentioning Trevor and Sypha.
Right.
Like, because it's like, why would Richter talk about his great grandpa?
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would recommend watching it. The animation style is a little weird. They kind of got hit with the budget hammer.
Yeah, that's okay. I definitely am going to give it a shot. I don't have Netflix, so I'm going to have to wait until I can have it fall off the back of a bus, how we say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also read all 4 of Jason Pargin's John Dies at the End novels in the span of a week and a half.
Jesus, you really tore through, you chewed through those. Jeez.
Yeah. Those are all really, really good books.
Yeah.
He has,
the first one.
Jason Pargin has an amazing sense of setting tone and mood, and describing things. see, because he does the thing after the first book. He does a thing where he kind of splits up narration between Dave, John, and Amy. And obviously John's narrations are huge exaggerations of what actually happens.
Right, yeah.
He talks about ramping things and fucking girls and whatnot, and like picking up hot chicks and whatnot, and just all the kind of stupid action stuff that he obviously lives off of. And then Amy's are a lot more sensible, a lot more like direct and to the point, and she doesn't have the cynicism that Dave has in his narrations.
Right.
But it's really interesting to see him write in all these different voices.
Yeah, and be able to juggle it.
Yeah. I think my favorite is probably his most recent one. If you're reading this, and if this book exists, you're in the wrong dimension.
Right.
I thought that was really, really good. It combined a lot of the existential stuff of John Dies at the End with a lot of the weird, fucked up, gross stuff of This Book is Full of Spiders.
Right.
By the way, he's a king at titles.
Yeah, he's extremely good at his fucking titles. Absolutely. I have read John Dies at the End, and I read halfway through This Book is Full of Spiders. That's hard to say.
Yeah.
I got like halfway through, and then you know how it happens.
Yeah.
You get distracted, and then you forget to go back to the book, right? So, but no, like his titles are fucking sick. What's the other one? I know it's John Dies at the End.
It's John Dies at the End. This Book is Full of Spiders. Seriously, don't touch it. What the hell did I just read? And if this book exists, you're in the wrong universe.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, they're really great. And I want to now start reading his Zoe Ash books. Which I read because Amazon has like a preview of them. So you can read like the first chapter or so. And yeah, it's Jason Pargan style, but it's a completely different setting and universe and completely different character style.
Okay.
So I'm really interested to check those out too. He in the last book, like in the forward or whatever, he mentions that like probably not the last John Dies at the End book. He's probably got one more in him.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. And then besides 6.5, I've been playing a lot of Sea of Stars.
How do you like it?
That's one of the best classic JRPGs out there.
Right.
Easily.
Like classic style JRPGs.
Yeah.
Has the plot gotten any more like remarkable?
It is pretty good for that era.
Okay.
Like it's not gonna revolutionize the industry, right?
Right.
But the characters in it are really compelling. They're very goofy and endearing.
Sure.
The party is super interesting. And the locations are beautiful, and it's just
beautiful.
Yeah, it's just a really, really good RPG.
Right.
And it's not groundbreaking in its use of the gameplay elements as narration, like your Undertale or Deltarune or anything like that. But it's a really interesting world to exist in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the party, besides your two main characters, you get three other party members. You get your childhood best friend, who they actually do an interesting thing with because he's kind of a big fat guy. So he's the food guy.
Yeah.
But instead of it being that he loves to eat, it's that he loves to cook.
Oh,
and
okay.
he's really fucking good at cooking.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
Like, his whole thing is you get to a new town, and he's like, I'm going to go to the inn, and I'm going to go talk to whatever chef is at the inn or tavern or whatever, and I'm going to learn whatever this place's local favorite food thing is.
Right.
Like, what's their signature dish? I'm going to go learn it. And he's really cool. You also get this really stoic ninja who her whole thing is that she kind of imposes herself on the party, and the party doesn't mind. They're all cool with her. But like, only the two main characters are the chosen ones.
Right.
So like there are times where she like kind of meets like a prophet or whatever, or like a sage or whatever, and she's like, "Hey, so where do we go next?" And they're like, "I'm not talking to you."
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
you're not in this conversation. It's only these two. And she's like, "Oh, right,
Rude
okay,
ass.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go." And there's this really great joke where like she wears a mask, and like there's a whole thing with like her identity and whatnot. Like there's another character that conspicuously leaves and the ninja comes back.
Oh,
Like it's super obvious who she actually
never
is.
see the two of them in the same room together type situation, right?
Right. And so there's a point where like at one point she's like, "I gotta come clean with you guys. Like I'm actually, yeah, we know.
Yeah, we're
Like,
aware. Don't worry.
We figured that out. We were just waiting for you to tell us because we figured you had your reasons. But yeah, we kind of knew that."
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's a great game. I'm very close to the end, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a multiple ending thing, so you got to do all the side quests to get the true ending.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna finish that before I start Cyberpunk. That's my like I cannot, if I don't finish this, I'm not gonna come back to it before Game of the Year.
Right. You got to get it finished before Cyberpunk probably eats your life. Understandable.
Right. So I'm gonna finish that because Spider-Man is in a couple weeks, and then I've got Novembario, and like December is for catch up. It's not for starting anything. And then the only other thing I did is I did start One Piece Odyssey.
Oh yeah, I saw you playing that.
Yeah. It's really good as far as RPGs go.
Yeah.
It does the cool thing where everyone starts at level 40.
Yeah.
And then they get hit with the level 1 beam.
I was literally going to ask how they justify resetting everybody's level.
And the way they do it is that like is the Atlas girl of this game. Mm-hmm. That's gotta be a trope on TV tropes, right?
Yeah, I just call it the Atlas girl.
Yeah,
the Capcom girl. Capcom's really guilty of it too.
Yeah, where it's just like, hey, here's the character who will only be in this thing and nothing else.
Here's a new entry, and here's a new girl to go with it because I don't understand it, but yeah, the Atlas girl. I know what you mean.
She is not. She's distrusts pirates, so when they confront her, she hits them with her magic ability that makes them forget how to use their powers.
That's funny.
So you get this great thing where like Luffy tries to use a gum move and he's like, wait, how do I do that again? How do I throw a punch?
Right, how do I throw a punch? Yeah.
And even Robin is like, wait, how do I do this thing? How do I use my hands? What? What
do you mean I'm the most broken character in One Piece? Nah, I'm just level 1.
Yeah. The gameplay, the actual RPG combat is kind of interesting because they do this thing where, for one thing, it has a RPS triangle where there's like speed, power, and like technique characters, and they rotate like strength versus weakness kind of thing. But they also do this thing where the battlefield is divided into segments, and so like, if your party at the time is like Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, right? Sanji might be off fighting his own 2 enemies while Luffy and Zoro fight another enemy.
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
And if you need to get Sanji like over there to help out, you need to defeat those 2 enemies first.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. And it's really cool because you can also like because of the weakness triangle, like you can swap for free at any time. So like if you've got a technique character and they're like the enemies they're stuck fighting are like strong against them, you can swap it for another character in reserve that has their elemental weakness.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, very like easy kind of gameplay flow. Yeah.
So yeah, it is really interesting. It's a lot of fun. If you ever play it, I would recommend downloading the mod that makes moving in the overworld faster.
I see.
Because Luffy doesn't go too quickly normally, and you gotta you're gonna spend a lot of time going from place to place. So maybe look into getting that mod at least.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about it. A lot of little stuff that I did aside from 6.5.
Right, yeah.
We got a lot of news.
Oh yeah, let's
Some of it's kind of boring, but we gotta talk about it.
Alright, let's do this quick.
Hideki Kamiya to leave Platinum Games.
Oh, it's never been more over.
Hey, guess what article we're gonna be seeing in like a month? Square Enix buys Platinum Games.
Yeah, no, it's never been more over. Square Enix is probably gonna buy Platinum. Who knows?
It'd be funny if Capcom bought them.
I would love it if Capcom bought them.
Just, hey, Platinum has closed down your Clover again.
Yeah, make another God Hand.
Yeah, make God Hand 2.
Make God Hand 2. Be like, here, just like ride in on a white horse and win. Yeah, no, but they are probably going to get bought really soon. Like, because I mean, they did all the stupid shit. They made every single classic game dev mistake, right? Let's open a new studio in Tokyo, the most expensive city in the world. Let's make our own engine. Okay, guys.
Yeah, okay, calm down.
Okay, guys. So, please enjoy acquisition hell.
Yeah. Project GG's never coming out.
No, it's just never coming out.
No, that is super canceled. Hey, so much for Bayonetta 4, huh?
It's probably for the best. That game apparently has a dog shit story, so.
Next, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan is retiring from Sony in March.
Are we just gonna do all three back to back?
We're gonna hit all of them.
We should just do them all back to back.
We should.
You move Richatello up the line, because I know he's in here.
He is in here.
Anyways, so long, asshole. Nobody's gonna miss you, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God.
The man who has been single-handedly holding back Sony.
It's insane to me, just like how boring of a brand PlayStation has become.
It's astonishing because, like, the Gigaboots and Castle Beast pointed out too, where it's like he is straight up responsible for every bad decision Sony's made.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like he's literally you can point a sign at Jim Ryan for like this focus on live service games. These boring fucking, just the same game. Like every video game looks the same from Sony now. Like,
yeah, like, those line graphs that are like here where everything in the country goes completely wrong, and it's like here's the point where Ronald Reagan was president.
That's right. The moment Reagan was elected. Yeah.
Yeah, you can make that with Jim Ryan and PlayStation.
You really could, because it's just like every single decision that's been made that makes Sony a more boring company that like nobody cares about. The reason I sold my PS5 is because of Jim Ryan, right? And yeah, he left us with one parting shot, that motherfucker, because we're getting the Last of Us remaster for the PS5. Like, come on.
That is later on the docket.
Oh, well, it's here now.
Yeah.
Thing nobody asked for. That's Jim Ryan's parting shot, is like, you will never escape the fucking Last of Us remasters. What a dead studio. That's the other, like, crime against humanity that Jim Ryan has committed, is he basically destroyed Naughty Dog, like, in specific, where Naughty Dog is now just, like, probably one of the most creatively bankrupt studios, like, in the industry now.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking... It's a factory that does nothing but make the same Last of Us game over and over again, and also somehow crunches all of its interns to literal death.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I saw someone today comparing the Last of Us 2 remaster to Mario Kart 8 on Switch.
Shut up.
And it's like, those aren't even comparable at all.
It's not even the same, especially with fucking Mario Kart. Maybe if the Last of Us 2 remaster... I don't even know what a good thing... I can't even think of a good analog there. If they just added like 30 new segments of gameplay for free to the Last of Us 2 remaster.
Or if the Last of Us 2 remaster had the multiplayer that they cut out.
Yeah, which is now also super fucking dead. That multiplayer mode is like never been more dead.
Yeah. Like, no, for one thing, original Mario Kart 8 wasn't available on the Switch because Switch wasn't backwards compatible. And the other thing is, they added another Mario Kart to Mario Kart 8.
They literally added a whole extra video game to the video game, yeah. So, maybe you should do that first.
Yeah. What if you made another Jack game? Or even a fucking Uncharted?
Wouldn't it be nice to get a fucking modern... No, because it would suck. It'd just be boring. I don't want a new Jack game. It'd just be shitty. Mm-hmm. So, like, you know, everybody responsible for that company being cool is now gone. So, you know...
Just let Insomniac make a Jack game.
Or
Come on. We all want that.
They shuttered Japan's studio. Like, and for what? For what? Right? Like, for nothing. They ostensibly shuttered it to make more... What's the little fucking free game that came with all the PS5s? Astro's Playroom.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, we want to make more of that. That didn't happen.
Yeah. You probably should have, Jim.
Hey, Jim, where the fuck are all the video games? PS5 has even less video games than PS3. How did this happen?
Hey, Jim, remember how everyone really, really liked the showcase of Astro's Playroom and how what the controller can do, what the console can do? Just do that again.
Just do that again. Yeah, I know. Imagine that. Well, he's gone now. Maybe we'll actually get a good fucking... some PS5 games again, and I'll actually want to own my PS5.
You'll be like, motherfucker.
Yeah, I hope that. I hope so. I want to be wrong. I hope, like, next year they come out with PS5 Slim, and it's going to have a bunch of new games. You
know what's there when the PS5 Slim comes out? Hey, do you want my PS5?
Yeah, sure, I'll take it.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Done and done. But yeah, just to complete the hat trick.
Yes, and one more for the road.
Unity announces leadership transition. Oh, is that what we're calling it?
That's what we're calling it. Mm-hmm. That's the fancy term for John Riccitello was told to pound sand.
John Riccitello is retiring immediately.
Yeah, effective. See, that's the funny thing is that you know that, like, so Jim Ryan is also retiring, but it is not effective immediately. Yeah. It will go into effect March of 2024. I think he's already stepping back from some of his duties at PlayStation right now, but he is still the effective CEO of
he still gets to sit at the desk.
Yeah, he's still like in charge of PlayStation, right?
Right.
Like he's the head at Sony. John Riccitello is out effective immediately.
They are sending John Riccitello to a farm where he can run around and be happy
with all the other game CEOs.
Yeah, there's retire effective immediately is we aren't legally allowed to fire you.
Right, yeah.
We have to give you a package.
Yeah, because he signed a contract.
Yeah.
So he's still getting like some kind of fucking golden parachute, right? Mm-hmm. Which sucks. But no, that motherfucker is out.
He is gone. He must have just gotten sick of having a gun pointed at him everywhere he goes.
Yeah, like I know that we were talking about this in the server a little bit. Like, I know that the board, like, he answers to a board of directors,
right? Yeah,
sort of shareholders and whatnot. And so they can also, you know, affect their will on a company. But like, the CEO is also like responsible for making decisions and occasionally telling those people to fuck off because that's a bad idea. So, like, it was quite literally Riccitello's job to say, no, the install fee is a bad idea.
Yeah, he still has authority.
Yeah. Like, he's not just some guy just sitting there with a thumb up his ass making, you know...
Yeah.
I mean, he mostly is because he's a CEO, but he still has, like, a pretty decent, like, degree of authority to go, no, that's a bad idea. That's going to lose us money. I'm not doing that, right?
He was, he was, according to this article, he was president, chief executive officer, chairman, and a member of the board of directors.
Yeah, so, like, he is as responsible for this shit as anybody.
Yeah.
And this is a man who wanted to charge people money for reloads in Battlefield. So, like, yeah, this is probably Richitello's fault to a certain extent. And, like, yeah, it's insane to me, like, the degree that, like, Unity has basically fucked up permanently, right?
Yeah, no, this is, like, there's no coming back from this.
Like, the amount of market share they have given up by doing this, even if they walked it back super, super hard.
Yeah.
There is still no coming. Because, like, at this point, we have multiple game devs who are like, I am actively sponsoring the development of open source game engines.
Yeah.
Like Godot, right?
This isn't fixing, this is mitigation.
Yeah, this is just mitigation. And it's still just, like, it's still not enough, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, Unity has just lost, like, basically for fun, just kind of lit a huge portion of their market share on fire.
Yeah.
So, good job, I guess.
Yeah.
So long and thanks for all the fish, asshole. Get the fuck out of here. We all hate your ass. Nobody is happier on this planet right now than Goichi Suda.
Yeah, he wins.
He wins.
Listen, we know Riccatello is a bad person because Suda made him a villain.
Yeah,
in his game.
If Suda51 is like, this guy's a fucking monster, idiot, asshole, he probably is. And I would trust Suda51 with my life.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Like, if a Japanese dev has this much hatred for an American CEO, like,
you know,
it's
he's
serious.
Bad. Yeah, in the words of Tim Rogers, of course Tim Rogers is speaking about Tetsuya Nomura, but still, I would consider Goichi Suda a type of fashion designer, and I am honor bound to follow the whims of a fashion designer, right? So yeah, Suda51 is correct. Richitello is a huge piece of shit, and he deserves everything he gets. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Listen, he wasn't sitting there being like, oh, okay, I guess we'll charge.
I guess we'll do the runtime fee.
Yeah, I guess. He was like, oh, I can make so much money off of this.
Yeah, exactly.
He was part of it.
Fuck off.
Don't get it wrong. Hey, do you want more bad news about people leaving companies?
Yeah, sure.
Fortnite maker Epic Games is cutting about 16% of staff.
Yeah, well, there's another guy who really needs to pound sand, but won't. Is fucking
Tim Sweeney needs to go.
Needs to eat shit. Yeah, no, Sweeney can fuck off. In that announcement that kind of came in the aftermath of the layoff announcement, they said they want Unreal to be like a whole ecosystem, which is just like, oh, so they're going to do the Unity thing too.
Yeah.
So it has never been more necessary ever for you to switch to Godot. If you're thinking about making a video game, switch to any of the other available open source game dev tools. I know they're kind of janky and old, but or they're kind of undercooked, not old because they're brand new. But you gotta. I'm sorry, you have no choice.
Yeah, at this point, you cannot trust anything else.
You can't trust these freaks. They're all fucking again, it's that quote that's like, she looked into his eyes and understood one thing, that the truly wealthy are not human. And Tim Sweeney is a robot. There's no soul in those eyes. There's nothing going on in that man's head except for genuinely evil thoughts.
Why did they buy Bandcamp?
Mostly to fuck it over, I assume.
What did that do for you?
Yeah, nothing. Turns out, because that's the thing. But I mean, that's what companies love to do. That shit. The company I work for, which will go unnamed, they love to do that shit. They love to buy stuff that they can't manage, and then when they realize they just shot themselves in the foot because the owner is a fucking man-child who just wanted to buy a new toy, they go, oh well, I'm not gonna take a pay cut, but I am gonna fire a bunch of people and ruin their lives instead. Right? Truly, you can't. The thing I really can't get across to most people, you understand it, but a lot of people still don't want to come to grips with, is that wealthy people aren't human.
Yeah,
they're just not. I'm sorry. If you have that much money, you have ceased to be a human being. You don't
think like a person does.
Yeah, you don't think like a person does. You don't live like a person does, right? You don't live a normal life the way people do, and as a result, like, you just stop being human. I'm sorry, when you get to be that wealthy, you literally have completely severed all of your humanity. So I think you should go to hell. Yeah. And I definitely think Tim Sweeney exceptionally deserves it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. Don't make video games with Epic either. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Next, man tied to suspected shooter in Tupac Shakur's 1996 killing arrested in Las Vegas.
This is a really funny one because I was reading about this. So, like, this is just because this guy couldn't stop talking about how he probably shot Tupac.
Self-snitching.
Right? Yeah, like,
is the thing.
You know, like, I know you want to be like, yeah, I shot Tupac. I'm that guy that shot Tupac. Like, I'm that cool. I'm the dude that shot Tupac. No, listen, my man, you can do that about nearly every other crime. If you wait 20 years, you can eventually, for like 95% of crimes, if you wait 20 years and go, yeah, I did it, they can't do anything to you. Mm-hmm. The one thing that doesn't have a statute of limitations on it is murder, my man.
Right.
Like, nearly every other crime has a statute of limitations on it, right?
And especially Tupac.
That's such an easy W for like the Las Vegas PD, right? I almost said the LAPD. I'm like, wait, that's wrong. That's such an easy W for them, right? If you want to be like, no, we're not, fucking incompetent idiot asshole donut munchers, then you're just like, yeah, we caught the guy that shot Tupac. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, there you go.
But then the thing is, like, turns out they didn't actually do that much detective work. Because this stupid asshole wouldn't shut the fuck up about it.
He just waited for this guy to admit to it.
He was just like, yeah, I did it. It's like the fucking, Elias fucking O.J. Simpson had the genius to, like, say, yeah, I did it, basically. Like, yeah. After the fact, after he got acquitted, so he couldn't be tried for double jeopardy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, this fucking stupid asshole. Don't talk about it. If you shoot, listen, this is not legal advice because I am not a lawyer. However, if you shoot someone, don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Just saying, don't talk about it. Don't tell anybody about it. If you're gonna get away with it, don't talk about it.
I saw people posting that clip from the Boondocks of the rapper on MTV, like, singing his new song where he admits to a bunch of crimes, and the police just walk in and take him off.
Yeah, like, cops are stupid. Most crimes in America don't go solved, right?
Yeah.
Like most crime in America does not get solved.
If you commit a crime and you don't leave any fluids at the crime scene, there's a 70% chance you're walking away.
You're gonna get away from it, right?
Yeah.
Like, as long as you didn't leave any fingerprints or any fluids of any kind,
yeah.
Don't spit, obviously. Mm-hmm. Like, as long as you did that, you are so good, my dude. Cops are stupid and incompetent and useless. You can get away with crime in America, but
the thing is, cops don't want to arrest people.
No, cops don't want to do their jobs. They just want to sit around and get paid for, like, jacking off in their cars.
They do want to arrest people. They don't want to work for it.
That's right. They want easy. They just want to sit around and have a reason to arrest people because they get bonuses based on arrests.
A cop would rather get 50 people for speeding than solve a single murder.
That's correct, because then they have to put any effort into it. Correct. Yeah. But, like, so you should not make their jobs easier.
Yeah.
Okay? Make cops' lives harder. Don't talk about the crimes you did.
Don't brag about the crimes you did.
Don't talk about and brag about the crimes you did. If you did a crime, take that shit to your grave or onto your deathbed. What you do is, if you're going to do a crime, you wait until you're literally dying in hospice and, like, your grandchild is next to you and you go, I shot Tupac, and then you die. Okay? And then your grandkid has to sit there going, did Grandpa kill Tupac? Right?
And then you don't know if they were telling the truth.
That's right. Exactly.
You have to spend the rest of your life going, Did Grandpa kill Tupac?
When I'm dying, I'm going to confess to killing Biggie Smalls, even
There
though
you
I
go.
was like 4 at the time.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
It's
you don't know. You could have done it.
Could have done it. Who knows?
Maggie shot Mr. Burns. I'm just saying.
That's so true. So true, Bestie. All right, what's next?
Next, why is France raiding a graphics card company?
This is really fun. I love the French are. Listen, they also suck, but they are extremely funny when it comes to shit like this.
So listen, this is for insider trading, blah blah blah.
Sure.
Corporate money exchange shouldn't have gone to that person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very disappointed. When I heard they raided it, I was like, who did Nvidia have killed? What? Where is the cocaine in the Nvidia offices? You know?
Yeah, like you know how DeLoreans were used to smuggle cocaine into the United States?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was really hoping the story was gonna be that like all Nvidia graphics cards smuggle a little bit of cocaine into the United States, right?
You know, when I hear raid, I'm thinking like the French equivalent of SWAT.
Yeah, like kicking down the door, right?
Yeah, you know, calling out when rooms are clear. They have masks and like riot shields and stuff, and like.
No, it wasn't like that. It was a bunch of guys in suits walked in with warrants and were like, "Hey, we would like all of these papers now. Thank you very much."
You know, a bunch of nerds being like, "Hey, can we have these folders? We
need
to look at numbers."
Yeah, they it's a raid because they just show up and they're like, "All right, everybody vacate the building so you can't fucking shred stuff, right?" But
man, whatever.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's financial crimes are interesting, I guess. But I really wanted like some dudes kicking down doors and throwing tear gas into like a fucking like a boardroom, right?
They fucking throw a smoke grenade in while people are talking about like what's upcoming.
Yeah, like how they're gonna like fucking beat AMD or whatever, right?
Yeah, I want to see like a sweaty guy in like a business suit like running with a briefcase. Like trying to get away, like sneak out the back door, and then he gets bashed in the face with the butt of a rifle. Like the cocaine is in his nose.
He just gotta make it spit out of his nose, like shoot out like a cloud of dust. Yeah, exactly. No, we didn't get anything fun like that. I'm sorry. I know we both love seeing, video game CEOs brutalized, but no.
No. Just, do you think people who did the raid were like, yeah, we raided their offices, and their friends are like, okay, did you really raid them, or did you walk in there with a warrant and get a bunch of like briefcases and folders? I got a bunch of folders.
I got a bunch of folders and briefcases and shit. It's like, okay, well, that's not really a raid, Francois. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I don't know. I guess maybe if you're doing white collar crime raids, you can maybe walk in. You still get to shout at somebody at least.
Yeah,
right?
you get to yell and like maybe kind of like push someone around a little bit.
Yeah, you get to walk in and be like, hey, we're taking all this shit. Step away from your computers, right? You get to at least do that. That's more fun.
You get to yell at some intern who has his headphones in. Kind of feel like a big man.
That's
be like, stop resisting. He's like, you don't have a gun. It's like, whatever.
Give me your computer. This is my personal computer. Give it. Fine.
Like, well, fine. Well, give me. I'm taking your little clacker ball desk thing.
Just snatch it up. Take it with you back to your own office. This is important evidence. All right, bro. Yeah, no, it's tragic. I much prefer when the story is video game CEO gets like actually assaulted by the police.
Yeah.
Nobody who deserves it ever gets it. We were just talking about this 15 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Cops don't want to do their jobs. Nobody who deserves it ever gets like bashed in the face with a fucking, tear gas launcher.
Why couldn't they burst into John Riccatello's office while he's like face deep in a mound of cocaine? Why couldn't that be how he was retired?
That would be because that'd be too cool. We don't get to live in that universe. I'm sorry.
Next, Fans split after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth reveals Kate Sith pronunciation. It's Kate Sith. It's just Kate Sith.
It's pronounced Kate Sith in Final Fantasy VII. The actual thing is pronounced Ketchi.
Yeah, it's Ketchi.
Ketchi. And the Japanese version, they pronounce it Ketchi. I know that a lot of people were very angry about this for, like, cultural reasons, but, like, every American fan I've ever known calls it Kate Sith.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
It's just Kate Sith.
It's always been Kate Sith.
It's one of those things, we knew we were both wrong, right?
Yeah, like, we know, it's not correct. It's not pronounced Kate Sith, but, like, literally everybody pronounces it Kate Sith. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Like, that's just how the Western fan base has pronounced the fucking thing for, like, ever. Like, I know that's not correct. I know that's not how it's said in fucking Gaelic or whatever, but, like, it's not how they say it in Japanese. I'm aware of all of that. But me and everybody I know growing up who played fucking Final Fantasy VII, we say Kate Sith. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's all I got for you. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't think this was a real tweet at first. I thought it was a parody account.
Yeah, it's very funny to me because, like, we were both like, oh good, we'll get to stream Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We'll be really quiet when Kate Sith shows up. We find out how it's really pronounced. And then they're just like, it's pronounced Kate Sith on Twitter. And you're like, huh?
What?
You just came out and said it like that?
What?
Really?
I don't think that's correct, Square Enix.
That's not correct. But also, it's like that one tweet. It's like, I think it's about it's like somebody retweeting Trump back when he was on Twitter. And it's like, I spent months following this story.
Yeah.
And he just tweeted
it out.
He just tweeted it out. That's how I felt.
Yeah,
like,
that's how I feel
too. I was like, they just tweeted it out.
They just said it.
They just said it. Okay, fine.
All right, I guess.
Okay, well,
it's
Kate Sith.
We'll get to continue our adventures in FF7 with Eris, Yuffie, and Tifa.
Shut up. I hate it here. All right, next.
Next, all unionized Dragon Age Dreadwolf QA workers have been laid off.
Oh, so speaking of things that have never been more over.
Hey, I don't think that game's coming out. Remember,
one, that game's not coming out. Two, I think that's illegal.
I'm pretty sure you can't do that if they're unionized.
Yeah, like, I don't think you can say, like, oh yeah, we're gonna fire only the union guys. Like, I think that's some sort of NLRB or NLRB. I had to make sure I was saying the acronym correctly. That's some sort of violation with them. I'm pretty sure.
Remember how we talked about, like, a month or so ago, we were talking about, like, a game called Dragon Age Dreadwolf will come out.
Right.
I don't think that's true anymore.
I think it's still going to come out, but it's going to be embarrassing. Right?
If it comes out at all, I'm thinking Gollum tier.
Yeah, me too. Like Lord of the Rings Gollum? Yeah, totally.
I'm thinking this will be one of the worst produced games of all time.
Yeah, it's gonna be really bad. It's gonna be like how catastrophic Anthem's launch was for BioWare, but like more.
We're gonna see clips on Twitter and whatnot of just like characters with no heads, just like all over in cutscenes. You know, like we're gonna see T-posing on scales that you can't even comprehend.
The amount of fucked that this game is and will be is going to take your breath away.
I'm going to predict we're going to see so many retweets and memes about someone posting a clip where there's an explosion and a character gets flung forward and they're just T-posing in midair.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
No, this game's super fucked. Yeah.
And there's precedent because we remember Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that game was rough too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh boy, BioWare's that game. Ooh, that studio's super dead, huh?
Yeah. Remember, this is after those 50 jobs.
Yeah.
Those 50 job losses. Yeah, that's it's not great.
Well, I'm looking forward to the fucking clusterfuck that it's going to be, at least.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see a trailer at the Game Awards, and the game will not look like that.
Honestly, the funniest part to all of this, right, is that, so, if Dreadwolf coming out would have still had a certain user base of people who would have bought it even if it was shit.
Right.
Right?
BioWare diehards.
No, here's the thing, though. However, that's only because they wouldn't have had that game, right? Here's the thing. Baldur's Gate 3 came out.
That's true.
And is now that game for those people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everybody who is an Inquisition fan is now currently playing Baldur's Gate 3. So they will not need to play Dreadwolf when it comes out. And probably won't, because it's going to look really bad.
Yeah.
Right? So, that's probably the worst thing that could have happened to Dreadwolf, is just Baldur's Gate 3 coming out and being really good and basically just being a new Dragon Age game, right?
Yeah.
Like, just by virtue of being, like, that fantasy game where you can fuck everybody and, like, has a ton of side quests and lots of choices to make and shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't come to me on the fucking Discord and be like, they don't play anything like. You know what the fuck I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do you think the people who still have BioWare characters in their Tumblr username or their Twitter handle care about the gameplay of Dragon Age?
Yeah, no, they don't give a fuck. They probably, honestly, like the gameplay of Baldur's Gate even more because it's turn-based than... I think it's turn-based. I don't know. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3. I'm pretty sure it's turn-based.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So, like, honestly, those kind of girlies, because it's mostly girls, they love turn-based games way more than action games. So, like, they probably like this game way more than Inquisition.
The gameplay of Dragon Age Inquisition is the tortilla chip that gets the dip into their mouths.
Right, exactly.
Okay,
and, like,
it's just a vehicle.
And the tortilla chip of Baldur's Gate is significantly better.
It's lime flavored.
It's lime flavored.
That good stuff.
It's those really thin, crispy ones from the Mexican restaurant. You know?
Can see through.
Yeah, those are the best kind. And that's Baldur's Gate 3, right? Yeah. And the queso just tastes better in Baldur's Gate 3. We're losing. I'm hungry.
I'm pretty hungry, actually.
I'm losing the metaphor. We should move on.
You know what sound good is some pizza. Because Netflix animation event dropped trailers for the Tomb Raider, Devil May Cry series, and Sonic.
It's really funny that they sent that Tomb Raider trailer out to die like that.
That was the vanguard. Nobody was talking about that shit except to be like, wow, they're also making this, huh? Nobody is going to watch that Tomb Raider anime. Yeah.
I did not watch the Sonic trailer. I don't care.
I mean, it's just season 2 of Sonic Prime, like, whatever.
Right, exactly. It's fine. Devil May Cry anime, though.
So, hey, Capcom, which Dante is this? Capcom, yes.
Yeah, his design is literally like every Dante smashed together, including Reboot Dante, because the amulet is smaller. It's like the like Reboot style amulet.
He's wearing, because someone broke it down. He's wearing DMC 5 Dante's like Henley.
Yeah, but like, he's also got DMC5 Dante's hair more than anything.
Yeah,
it's that split down the middle style haircut.
He's got DMC3 Dante's. I think he's got Rebellion, right?
Yeah, and he's got the chest holsters and stuff, right? Because he's got like the chest straps and shit like that.
And I think he has DMC1 Dante's coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you just break it down, he's every Dante.
Yeah, it's very funny. I'm like cautiously optimistic because I don't really like Studio Mirror's style that much. Mirror are the guys who did Korra.
Mm-hmm. They did Korra. They did My Adventures with Superman, and they did Voltron too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. But My Adventures with Superman looks good. So
it's incredibly good.
It looks really good. So maybe this will be good. I hope it's good. It's a toss up to what the fuck this story could be about. It's a 50-50 split between this is the plot of the novel set before DMC3 where he's Tony Redgrave, just turned into a Netflix adaptation.
Right.
Or this is a Castlevania, the TV show style DMC3 where like it's gonna have that cast of characters but be totally different. Right?
That's what I'm hoping for more than a retelling of something that already exists.
Yeah, I would like to see some stuff from the novel get in here.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because I think some of that stuff is cool. And I definitely would. So like, I do hope they sneak some novel stuff in because Nico in DMC5, her grandma is Nell Goldstein, right?
Right.
Who is the lady who made Ebony and Ivory in the novels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping they'll at least put Nell in here somewhere so you can kind of have like make her relevant to people who like DMC5 but don't really know anything about Nell, right? You can kind of square a couple circles that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I do hope it's in general just kind of not like a reboot, but like a retelling, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine by me. We already know that Lady is going to be in this show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably going to be some sort of DMC3 retelling. That's fine by me. Like,
I mean, if they're gonna pull from any Devil May Cry, it's gonna be 3.
It's gonna be 3.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, I want this to be an original story.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they were gonna do a retelling of a game, I would want it to be 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And like part of me kind of wishes it was more about Nero than it is about Dante.
Yeah, I definitely wish, especially because DMC 5 is an immaculate super game.
Right.
But 4 has so much interesting stuff in it that didn't get to really be because that game's development was super rushed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think DMC 4 basically more than any other Devil May Cry game because 2 just doesn't really have a plot. I think 4 would benefit the most from like an anime adaptation where like you actually get 26 episodes to kind of like really flesh things out. But that's not what they're going for. They're obviously because they want it to be more about Dante because that's who most normal people, he is
the main character.
He's the wacky wahoo pizza man, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna do it about that. I hope it's good. What's his face? Ruben Langdon is not playing Dante.
He is not in it.
Eat shit, idiot.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said all that shit you did.
Maybe you shouldn't be an insane anti-mask, anti-vax fucking freakazoid on Twitter.
He could have.
You would get phone calls from Capcom.
He could have just stayed as the fun conspiracy guy who believed in aliens and stuff.
Crystals and aliens and shit, and like spirit healing and shit like that. That's fine. You know?
I would have even accepted if he was a weird flat earther.
Sure, flat earther guys are funny, right?
But nope.
Then he strays into like 5G, anti-vax, anti-mask. I think he even has like a little bit of like January 6th sympathies guy kind of going on.
It's a lot.
So like, no, dude, sorry, you don't get a phone call. Hey, the same way you shouldn't talk about how you shot Tupac.
Yeah.
You maybe keep your fucking dipshit anti-vax shit to yourself if you want to keep playing Dante. Just a thought.
Listen, you don't get a lot of chances to play Dante as it is. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Always remember the immortal words of Wooly Madden.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
The only other thing in this article that is of note, like I said, there's also the Sonic Prime, but whatever. We saw our first like full clip of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Yeah.
And Michael Cera has a really good voice for anime.
It's really funny. He's kind of the only guy doing an anime voice acting voice.
Yeah.
And he sounds great.
It was so fun because I'm watching this clip and I even had to check in with another Discord about this where I'm like, he sounds like Haley Joel Osment, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's like really doing the voice. It's good.
Like I meant, because I'm in another Kingdom Hearts Discord, and I'm like, is it just me, or does Michael Sarah sound like Sora in this clip?
Right.
And they're like, no, he does sound a lot like Sora in Kingdom Hearts 3.
He really is.
It looks great. The animation looks phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited for it. Yeah, I'm still very hyped for the Scott Pilgrim anime. The anime-ass anime.
The anime-ass Scott Pilgrim fucking anime. Yeah, no, I think it looks good. I'm really excited for it. So, yeah, I'm not excited for Scott Pilgrim Discourse, but that's fine.
I like that they changed Ramona's job from being a delivery girl for Amazon to a delivery girl for Netflix.
Yeah, she delivers Netflix DVDs. That's really fun. It's cute. It's a good touch.
But yeah, and then we talked about Last of Us 2 Remastered already. So finally, ChatGPT was used to write Gollum game apology, it's claimed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the way you know it was because if you read that Gollum game apology, they call it Lord of the Ring Gollum.
Mm-hmm.
Or no.
Lord of the Ring. Yeah, Lord of the Ring Gollum.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay.
It's like, wait, guys, come on.
That's not what it's called. Okay. Yeah, no, very funny. That game is just like so bad.
It is, according to this article, where's the quote that I just saw? It's the lowest rated game of the year so far.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
No, I mean...
Yeah, no, it just looks really bad. It's very funny that it looks so bad. I think the Tolkien estate are like big assholes, I'm pretty sure.
I would not doubt that for a second. Again, money makes you insane.
Makes you insane, yeah. When, like, you know, J.R.R. himself was by all accounts a very cool guy, who just really loved fucking nature. And like, I think the Tolkien estate are like, they're like assholes, I'm pretty sure. A lot of like rich people are like famous authors' families are just like psychopaths now. Yeah. You've heard my dislike for Shannon Lee of Bruce Lee fame.
Right, yeah.
Not an author, but the same thing, like family of like a famous person who's now passed away. They're all insane and annoying. And I think the Tolkien estate is the same way. Very funny that this game is so shitty. Did you see the trailer for Tales of the Shire? Or not the trailer, the logo for Tales of the Shire?
Oh, you mean the new Tales game coming out?
Yeah, it literally, like, I saw it, and I'm just like, but this looks like a Tales game logo, though.
Like the first screenshot, like, I look at that and I'm like, that's Tetheala.
It just, yeah, exactly. It just looks like a Tales game. And, like, the logo has kind of got that same vibe.
Yeah, like, it's got the font. It's got the font.
It's got the font and, like, the color style and stuff. You just look at it and you're like, wait a second.
Wait, you can't. I mean,
you can.
Wait, you can. Wait a minute. If you make a Lord of the Rings game that just plays like a classic Tales game,
that actually would be kind of sick.
That would be kind of cool, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I actually would play that. Hold on a second.
I want to see Aragorn doing demon fangs.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was laughing at that by how much it made me think of a fucking Tales game. I know somebody works on that game, actually. It's very funny. I didn't realize she had gotten a job at Weta, but yeah.
So there are a couple choice quotes in this article.
Ooh, yes.
That I just want to talk about. For one thing, the apology has another great Chat GPT line in it.
Oh, yeah?
Which is the last paragraph. We deeply apologize for any inconvenience caused.
Okay.
Like, no, this wasn't inconvenience.
It was just bad.
You made a bad game.
Yeah, no, that's very, like, Chat GPT, right? Like, because like the other day I asked just to like test it. I asked Chat GPT to write me a cover letter because nobody wants to write a fucking cover letter. Right. That's the only use. By the way, kids, only use case for AI and ChatGPT is to write your cover letter. You're welcome. But like, that's the kind of thing it would spit out, right? Is like, oh, ChatGPT, write me an apology.
Yeah.
And it would assume, oh, you're apologizing for inconveniencing someone.
Yeah.
Right? Or even ChatGPT, write me a game studio apology.
Right.
Even that is like, it's drawing from like, oh, our server has been down. We apologize for the inconvenience.
Like the apology also talks about like being diligently at work, providing patches and fixing these problems. Like, no, you're not.
No, you're not. Don't lie.
Don't fucking act like you are.
Don't tell us lies like that. No.
Yeah. But here's some really good quotes from this. One example, one scene that was supposed to see Gollum eavesdrop on a conversation between two major characters was recorded, but never animated. So Daedalic had Gollum simply look at a window and have the audio recording play, never having to show the characters that were speaking.
Oh man, that game is super fucked, huh?
They also claimed that the argument system, which saw Gollum and Smeagol argue over which option to take in the game, was never finished, and a makeshift solution was added shortly before publication. The mechanic was supposed to replicate similar conversations in the film, which saw the camera change perspective to denote which part of Gollum's personality was talking. However, when the game was eventually released, players simply picked from a few options of simple text, all while Gollum's lifeless character model floated in the background.
Great.
Just amazing.
Oh man, that's so funny.
This was supposed to be a PS5 launch title.
Wow, they were really trying to like have this be money, and they put no money into it at all.
Just incredible.
Incredible. Great. Very funny how hard that game flopped and how bad it was. So
yeah. Oh.
Are we done?
A lot of really bad news.
A lot of really bad news. Folks, the game industry is not in a great place right now. Play your indie games, because like inshallah we will see the death of AAA gaming as we know it very soon.
I really hope that with Jim Ryan leaving, with this Unity shit, with everything like that, like we are just going to see the AAA industry fall off a cliff.
I really hope so, because like this is like Starfield was basically Microsoft's only big release this year.
Yeah.
That I can think of, unless I'm sure they had like a Forza or something. They're always putting out a Forza, right?
Right.
But like they really haven't had a big release either. So like the whole like pipeline of these 6-year-long video games is just not sustainable anymore. Spending $350 million to make a video game is just not sustainable anymore, right? Like, and like the success of these big budget titles is obviously shining through kind of just constantly. Fate Samurai Remnant moved 300,000 copies, which is a big deal to them, right?
That's pretty good.
That's really good for them, right? Like,
yeah.
And games like Samurai Remnant have legs, and when people see like, oh, that game moved 300,000 copies. Oh, hey, my friends are all talking about it. I'll buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the kind of games that when you check back in 2 years, like, yeah, we sold 2 million copies somehow. We don't know how, but we're happy we did. Yeah, and then in the meantime, like that's a budget title made on a just a much more simpler kind of, but it works.
I've seen gameplay of that game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the best I've ever seen,
but it's good.
It's good.
It's pretty. It's got a cool art style. It makes a good art style will carry games with budget graphics like super far, right? Like a really good art style will carry you a really long way.
Yeah.
And Samurai Remnant has that in spades. And in the meantime, we see just all these layoffs hitting the big AAA sphere mostly because of gun-shy investors. Like, it's not because of AAA development, because that kind of makes it sound like the finance industry is something that can be reasoned with, right? This is because interest rates have gone up, and so cheap credit is just not available anymore. So now the line is not going up as high as anybody would like, right? Like
Right.
the line is still going up.
Yeah.
But it's going up slightly less and slower, right?
Yeah. We're not making more money every day.
Exactly.
The number, why isn't the number going up infinitely?
Yeah, totally. And that's because of stuff like cheap credit is drying up, because interest rates are raising, because the United States government is trying to slow jobs growth to try and stop the fucking unionization effort that is happening across the whole country. It's like a whole insane cascading effect, right? So much of this is happening because 2 years ago people realized oh, our bosses need us more than they need them.
Wait a minute.
Hey, wait a second. And now literally, the chairman of the Fed was literally we're trying to make people lose their jobs so that we can slow down.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know. So they can slow down economic growth so that people will be more dependent on their employers, right? And that has a cascading effect. That's why we see interest rates coming up. They're trying to slow down certain things in the industry, and that it has a knock-on effect that is now knocking into the game industry, because they're getting, everybody's getting by off of, like I said, cheap credit and low interest rates, shit like that. And so they're not getting as much free money anymore. They're well, we have to cut corners to keep the line going up to, to our satisfaction. So now we have to lay off. It's been over 6,000 layoffs this year alone in the industry, right? And so it's not a result of how unsustainable the AAA industry is. Make no mistake, the AAA industry is unsustainable, but to think of it in those terms is to not understand.
It's not the full picture.
There's not the full picture, and that there isn't a cause and effect that makes sense to you and I, normal human beings. Yeah. This is getting back to the fact that rich people aren't human, right?
The more I hear all these things, the past 2 years or so, and it's been a steady thing as I've become get older and whatnot and learn more about how the world works. But it's really shot up in the past 2 years of learning so much about how the industry works, and being I'm really glad I didn't actually pursue a job in this industry.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad I dropped out of college.
Yeah. Phew!
Yeah. I was going to school to be an animator for video games, right?
Yeah.
Not to be a game programmer, to be a game animator. And I realized I hated it. So I dropped out of college.
But it having to learn all of this stuff it's incomprehensible to me as a regular middle class person, right?
Just a guy, yeah.
You are dealing with scope that is beyond perspective.
Sure.
And
because go ahead.
That's why so many of these things are falling apart, is there's just, you cannot comprehend it. You can't grasp this mentality, and you have people like Jim Ryan who are on this this next level,
right?
Who are perceiving the world in terms of money and this crazy perspective of how the world works for them, that's built off the backs of people like you and me who actually know how the world works.
Yeah, and the thing to me is that, and the thing that I think makes all of this feel so much even more confusing and overwhelming to a certain extent, is that you and I, for most of our lives, and I think most people, assume a kind of logical cause and effect, right? You think in your head, oh, they're not making any profit, so they have to lay people off. And that's bad, but because it's the system we grew up in, we're able to internalize that and go okay, well, that's just what happens, right? Yeah. They're losing money, so they have to lay people off. And that sucks, because obviously the real answer is that CEOs should just take a pay cut the way Iwata did. But, that's a whole other thing, right?
Yeah,
that's just general, normal tier capitalist thinking, I suppose.
Right.
And that's normal human thinking, is to think, well, there's a cause and effect. But the truth is that there is no normal logic to this system. Like, there is no reasonable cause and effect the way that you and I expect, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's actually significantly more insane than that.
Yeah, because you're also getting to this level where the money that's being exchanged isn't even real.
It's not even real, yeah. It's like totally fake money. It's all just it's just tied up in loans and interest and shit like that just, it's money that doesn't exist. And it's still profit. Like, Epic still made $1 billion in profit last year, but because it wasn't up to projections the way they wanted because of a factor of Fortnite flagging and, again, the reduction of cheap credit and higher interest rates, right?
Right.
Those things come together, and that ate into their already substantial profits. So they made a shit ton of money last year, but because it wasn't enough of a shit ton of money, 900 people had to lose their jobs.
Yeah, that's the thing that you and I can't comprehend.
We can't wrap our heads around. No, absolutely.
Because what kind of insane bullshit fucking logic is that?
Right.
Like, who thinks like that?
You've made more than enough money to pay your exorbitant salary, to pay the exorbitant salary of all of your, like, administrative shitheads.
Yeah.
And you've made enough to pay everybody in your fucking company, right? With plenty left over, right?
You have more money than you started with last year. You have more. But somebody is still getting laid off because it's not enough, right? Yeah. And it's just like, it's a thought process that you and I can't even wrap our heads around. Yeah.
And it's a thing that is just becoming more and more apparent. This whole tangent just started because it just feels so like so much of the industry is tied up into that thinking, unless you're just in the indie sphere, who are just happy to make enough money to get by, like the fucking Sea of Stars guys, who are like, we projected to sell 250,000 copies of the game over its lifetime, not in the first month, right? Like, that's what they were saying. Like, they did not expect to move that many copies so quickly.
Yeah, and to smaller studios like that, that's an unambiguously good thing for everyone involved.
Right? Exactly.
Like, hey, our small staff of, like, maybe at most 100 people, we all profit. We all are better off than we were when we started.
And it's probably not even 100 people, because you got to think about the fact that Hello Games, the guys who make fucking No Man's Sky, right?
We're like
that studio
12?
has I think they've gone up to 20 now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, right? Like, Sea of Stars was probably made by like 15 people.
Right.
Maybe. And like, they're all ecstatic.
Yeah.
Because they live in the real world with the rest of us. And whereas, like, these big studios just don't. Like, a good example, fucking CD Projekt Red just had to unionize. I mean, it didn't make it into the docket because it just happened.
Yeah.
But they had to unionize because despite Phantom Liberty being a big hit, some fucking moron at that company wanted to open an American studio, so they're not making as much money as they would like. So fucking CD Projekt Red, like the company that made The Witcher, got hit with layoffs, right?
Yeah.
Like the guys who made the fucking Witcher 3, which is a video game that just prints infinite money. Like, they got hit with layoffs. And they were like, we have to unionize to like staunch the bleeding. It's
this insane, just this lack of empathy that truly borders on sociopathic, right?
I mean,
because like,
I don't even think it borders on it. I think it is sociopathic.
You can't. There's not even a level of. It's not even. It's like our company is so big that we have 100,000 employees, and obviously you can't keep track of all of those people, right? Like it just becomes a number, a statistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even then, when you think of people as like a broad group like that, like, you know, another country or whatever, like you have empathy for whatever situation they might find themselves in, right?
Right.
This is even a complete lack of that.
Right.
Of like people like Jim Ryan or Tim Sweeney, where it's just like they don't even comprehend the idea of other people, right?
No, Tim Sweeney is so far up his own ass trying to be a metaverse guy that like he doesn't even live in the real world anymore.
Yeah, like this isn't. That's the part that I just can't. I can't comprehend thinking like that, you know?
Sure, because you're a normal human being with a heart and a soul. Yeah.
And like not even that part. Like I can't grasp the idea of looking at my number still going up.
Yeah.
Like still profiting. And that's the part that I stick with is you still made more money. But you didn't make enough. So you fire people.
So 900 people, huge amount of people, have to lose their jobs despite the fact that the number went up. Right? It's insane to me. That's the thing. I mean, that's what we've been talking about this whole episode. That's what this whole episode ended up being about. I guess it's the title of the episode now. It's that rich people aren't human. Right? That's the moral of this story, of this roundup, is that like the extremely wealthy are quite literally not human after a certain point. They just don't feel for people the way you and I do. Yeah. Like, and I know that sounds like crazy, but I think like our audience is not going to have a hard time comprehending that, right? Yeah.
This isn't even like I'm nicer than them.
No.
Right? Like this isn't me trying to act like we're some kind of some like fucking great hero who looks out for the little guy or whatever. No, it's just like we can still see that a person is a person, and that's like the baseline of anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like the only people that rich people think are human are other rich people. Yeah. Right? Like, and that's what we mean when we say that like rich people have actual class solidarity that like, you know, normal people just don't have because we're too busy, you know, fighting. Like rich people will always look out for each other because they consider other rich people to be the only other like living people in the world, right?
And there are so few of them they can keep track of each other.
Yeah, they can keep track of each other and just close ranks whenever they need to. Yeah.
By the way, there's only like 13 or so people that we need to worry about, and if we take care of them.
There's like fucking 50 people, like 50 extremely rich people responsible for climate change. We know where they live.
I'm just saying, if they were no longer a problem, then things would get better for everyone else pretty quickly.
That's right.
Just saying, like we know who they are, we have their names, and we can probably figure out where they live.
We know where they live. Just
hypothetically.
Yeah. You know, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, like, hey, we know where those people live.
Did you know that it's illegal to say, I want to kill the president of the United States?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it's just, you know, we got off a really big tangent here at the end. But like, that's the news here. Like, the news has been so, like,
it's cascaded. Like, for this past, like, 2 weeks is like, all like Kamiya, Jim Ryan, Unity, fucking The Last of Us thing. Is just, these are all symptoms of the same problem.
Yeah, it's all symptoms of the same problem, which is that like we have no creativity left, so we have to keep pursuing the same like we have to just rent seek, right, with like Unity and Richitello and the runtime install. So we're either rent seekers or we're just regurgitating the same idea over and over again, like with The Last of Us and every Sony game.
Right.
Because like those are the only formulas we have that can reliably make the number go up. It's kind of like, it's like Disney movies and stuff right now, right? Like they kind of just keep making the same thing, and it's all fine. It's all passable. It's good because it has to be.
Yeah.
And like, it all just kind of turns into gray sludge, and the amount of sludge goes up day by day, right?
Right.
Because like that's the only way they can think to make the line keep going up, and it's good when the line goes up.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I could go in for this for hours.
I know, we could talk about this for literally hours.
Just like, and because they can't comprehend the argument of, if you try something creative, people will like it and be more encouraged to buy future things.
Even though,
right?
like, constantly it's the thing of the fact that Yoko Taro is just stuck making mobile games and like his silly little card game series that he likes so much. Like, Nier Automata moved a shit ton of copies. So why isn't Yoko Taro making, like, actually headlining a game right now?
Yeah,
right?
It's because all these companies and these CEOs and whatnot are way more happy pumping out cheap, easy to make garbage because it's profitable.
Right.
And why put in the effort to make something actually creative when we can just get the money from this?
Yeah, it's short-term profit. Like, it's, you don't have to worry about anything else. You just have to make the profit in the short term. And that's why, like, games that don't sell 20 million units in the first 3 days are, like, considered flops in the AAA sphere, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's all coming down to the same thing of how unsustainable parts of the industry are.
Yeah.
And
these are all short term, and eventually it's going to collapse. Eventually, I'm really hoping that Jim Ryan,
it collapses. Yeah,
Jim Ryan being out is the first step in destroying the AAA industry before it becomes the quadruple A industry.
Yeah,
you know,
and we're spending $100 on video games and like just the regular edition of video games. So I'm always spending. You know, they asked me to spend $70 on a fucking video game.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, I've bought one $70... I technically bought two. Wait, no, three. I bought three $70 video games this year. And I regret buying two of them. Mm-hmm. I bought the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Right.
Which was good, but not $70 good. I mean, like, I liked it.
Yeah.
But I haven't thought about it since I played it. I bought the Final Fantasy
$10 for the Separate Ways DLC too.
They're charging $10 for the Separate Ways DLC. Yeah, exactly. I bought Final Fantasy 16. I didn't even open it, so at least I got my money's back.
Yeah.
So, like, I really regretted that purchase. I spent $70 and looked at the game and was like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? The only game I spent $70 this year on, and I didn't feel bad about, was Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. That's a real $70 game.
Yeah.
Right? And, like... That's it.
They don't understand that they could push so many more units if they didn't charge $70 for a game.
Right, absolutely.
Well,
they do understand that. They do understand that because there is a downtrend in sales because people don't want to spend $70 on a fucking video game.
Well, yeah, and again, that's also the insane thing of we can't comprehend their logic because, like, what are you doing?
Well, it's an issue of just like, well, we can just force this issue, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can just keep putting out video games that people want, and we'll force the issue, right?
They can ignore the empirical evidence because they don't see these people as human. Of everyone who says I would have bought it if it was $60.
Sure, they don't care about that. They only want the $70 sale because they're not trying to like sell a good thing.
They're trying to sell a $70 thing. Yeah, exactly.
They're trying to sell $70. And by that I mean they are trying to sell the idea that video games should now cost you $70. And like, God is my witness, I will not buy another one next year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not spending $70 on a video game ever again. Right? Like,
right.
I'm just not. It's stupid. I don't want to. I'm not going to spend that much money on a fucking video game. Like, I don't care how much dev costs have gone up. You know what else has gone up? Every fucking thing else in my life. Right? Like, I can't afford anything, and you want me to spend $70 on your fucking video game? No, go to hell. Like, it's not sustainable anymore. Like, the whole, you know, like I said, inshallah, the entire industry will collapse in on itself, and I can finally buy a new fucking graphics card.
We need to escape the 5-year dev cycle, the $70 price tag,
the $300 million development cost.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just not the only game that's going to be able to get away with that in the next, like, 5 years and make its money back hand over fist is the next Grand Theft Auto.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, any other game is going to struggle to make its dev costs back. Like,
Because
I will be surprised. Genuinely, I don't think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to make as much money as Square Enix hopes it does.
Oh, not a chance. No,
Because
definitely not.
Because at least for maybe after the first 3 months when they finally put it out on fucking PC, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's still going to be, the first 3 months is going to be exclusive on a PS5, a system that
that no one has.
Can't afford, that nobody likes, that doesn't have any fucking video games on it. And it's going to cost $70.
I just want to sit down with these people, have them look me in the eye and say, why do you think this is a good idea?
Why do you think this is a good idea? And like, the truth is, they don't think it's a good idea for anybody but themselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's a way to just keep forcing the narrative that like a video game should cost $70. That's it. Like, it's just like, it's a collective effort by like game devs and publishers in the AAA sphere to say that all of these video games have to cost $70 now because we want video games to cost $70 now. That's it. Right? Anyways, Monkey Island says don't spend more than $20 on a video game, and that's exactly what they're exactly right.
Always been true.
That's always been true. I spent $10 on Cyberpunk 2077, and I felt good about it. So, this episode got a little heavy at the end.
It did get a little heavy. That's okay.
But you know what? Life is expensive, folks.
Yeah.
So sometimes that happens. Video games looking a little bleak right now, but as long as you play indie games, you will feel at least a little bit good in your soul. Buying Sea of Stars literally improved like 15 people's lives in a measurable way. So
also,
how often can you say that?
It's a really fucking good game, and it is definitely going to be on my Game of the Year list.
It's also a very beautiful video game that at the very least is worth looking at and rubbing your eyeballs all over it. So, yeah.
All right.
Get us out of here.
That'll do it for us. Thank you to Broke Free for News. You can follow me on Twitter at The Gorge Podcast. You can follow Sara at radioinactivity. You can email us at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, again, patreon.com/thegorge. Donate. Give us a couple bucks, and you get a whole bunch of cool stuff.
Everything costs money these days, but $2 gets you so much fucking content.
$2 gets you JoJo's Bullshit Adventure, which I had a ton of fun hosting.
And it was so much fun playing, even if I was extremely bad at it. Yeah, man.
Oats is already cooking up something to poison me with Umineko. So,
yes, me, Saturn, and Oats are all cooking up something to poison Ben with Umineko.
Like the council, the Triad Council is going to test me.
And we might do 2 Truths and a Lie about Transformers, which would be very fun.
That would be fun.
I think that's what Oats wants to do and host, because I think that'd be really fun. But yeah, that's $2. I know everything costs money, but like $2 isn't that much money, right?
Yeah,
and you get a fun you get a fun little Discord icon when you join our Discord, which you should also do.
And then for $3 more, you get to hear us talk about movies.
That's right. And that's fun too, because we watch bad movies all the time.
We did Mortal Kombat, and that was a blast.
We did Mortal Kombat Annihilation. That was a stinker, but it was a fun stinker, and I enjoyed it. I gotta pick a movie this month, don't I?
Yeah, well, it's October, so you get to hurt me.
I won't pick anything too scary because we're also in the Discord. We're watching horror movies every Sunday for the rest of October. Last night we did. Last night we recorded. This is coming out on Tuesday, probably.
Yeah.
But the Sunday before this episode came out, we watched Ghost Watch, which is like one of my favorite Halloween movies to do. Next week we're doing Skinamarink. Ben will not be there for that one.
Nope.
That's fair.
I'm gonna tap out for the rest of the month.
I might try and like end it on a fun horror movie instead of a scary horror movie, so that way people can come back. But yeah, no, join the Discord, join our Patreon, follow me on Twitter, follow Ben on Twitter as long as Twitter continues to exist. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. We have plenty to pick from this week.
Fuck rich people. I hate them all.
Fuck rich people. Yeah,
that's really all it boils down to. That's what it boils down to. Fuck rich people.
You ruin every creative outlet we have.
As I always say, you're fucked too.
You're fucked too.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.